This is how I'm breaking generational trauma. So I'm Vicky if you're new to my videos, and I make content about mental health, my experience with bipolar disorder and OCD. And today I wanted to talk about how I'm personally taking charge of my future to break generational trauma. So of course, like, mental health is something that has been talked about more and more recently, especially after the past few years where so much has been happening. And personally speaking, as I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and OCD, I had a big fear that that this would be something that would affect not only me, but if I wanted to have kids in the future and my whole life, which was super scary, because I was like, my life is doomed and I am just basically my traumas, which is absolutely not true. And I think that it's a mentality that we all need to change in order to make a difference and to live happier lives. So personally speaking, my parents, I did a video about how they're both in therapy. So, they both went through a lot of things when they were growing up that were really difficult. And I feel like when we go through things in life, sometimes it's hard to break certain patterns, which they also are in their process of breaking generational trauma. And then we continue the work with that. So it's something that at times we act the same way that we saw as kids our parents act, and that could lead to depression, anxiety, like a bunch of like different mental health issues that typically then you see that they run in families. But that does not mean that we are destined for that. We have so much more control than we realize over our futures and over our happiness, over our mental health. That's what I mean with like the happiness piece of it. And I have seen that myself. I went from believing that I was doomed for life because I had a mental illness to honestly feeling like I can control my life and how things impact me through different tools that I've learned through therapy, even through medications, through talking things out, to figuring out how to deal with certain situations in a different way than what I was taught. And by realizing these things, by changing the way that I talk to myself, like, I'm not doomed. Just because I have this doesn't mean my kids will have it. Just because I have this doesn't make me a worse person, doesn't make me X, Y, and Z. I stopped labeling myself, and I stopped excusing things that I did as a result of things that I had lived. And I think through those choices, I've really been able to change the narrative and the outcome of my life and how I live it and how happy I am each day. Now, that's not to say that we don't struggle, that in moments of crises, my mind and my actions won't go to what's the comfort, which is typically, the not so desirable actions to be taken or not so desirable reactions to certain situations, but we work through it. And I believe that we have that power of changing the course of our lives through being conscious of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and through making conscious decisions to change it. One of those major decisions is going to therapy. It's going to a psychiatrist when it's needed. And that can be hard for a lot of us because going to therapy can be really hard. Going to a psychiatrist can be really difficult. But honestly, those are things that can really change the outcome of how you feel each day. So just wanted to put it out there that yes, of course, generational trauma exists. There are things that are parents or grandparents or great-grandparents lived through, that kind of shaped how all of them were. That does not mean that we are destined for those things as well. And we have to take accountability for that and to make the difference. So I hope you liked this video. Kind of short, but let's keep it short and sweet. And if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And always remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.